Welcome back to the show where we run you through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. Actually, the news you need to know about. We're running through the fan cam. We answer fans' questions. We'll start with the NFL trade deadline. The Miami Dolphins decided not to make a deal. I know there's a lot of rumors about running back. A lot of Dolphins fans wanted middle linebacker. But nothing happened. I'm pretty happy with what ended up happening. I personally didn't think the Dolphins needed to make a move. There was really nothing that I thought that they, other than guard depth, that would have been kind of nice, obviously, without Isaiah Wynn. But Lester Cotton came in, and he played pretty good against the Patriots, who do have some good interior linemen, like Barmore and Lawrence Guy, who's always been a really good run defender, even though he really didn't run the ball very well. I would have at least liked to bring somebody in, and obviously Robert Hunt is banged up as well. So the only thing I would have even considered, or at least the thing that I wanted as a fan, was definitely a guard of some kind. We really don't have any news on injuries. It's a lot of question marks. Like Teron Armstead, he could return very soon. I don't think it'll be this week. I saw a report that they might get him back this week from Bleacher Report. It didn't seem very credible, so I didn't want to put it on here. And they left to Germany so fast. I just don't see how. Maybe I don't even know if he's been. I don't know. It just didn't seem like there was a whole lot of news or anything trending in that direction. Maybe somehow he does, but it doesn't really look like he will. I would assume they'll save him for after the bye week. And that's probably when they'll get really healthy on the offensive line, hopefully. Obviously, Isaiah Wynn's going to be gone for a long time, unfortunately. And I'm excited to see what they do with Connor Williams when he comes back. Obviously, and he should come back against the Chiefs with all the injuries on the offensive line. He didn't play against New England, from what I remember. So is he going to play guard? Do they trust Eichenberg at center, who's not played bad at center? I thought he's gotten better every week. So that does give them flexibility to kind of bolster the interior a little bit better. And hopefully Robert Hunt isn't hurt, because I think the Eichenberg-Hunt-Williams combo is better than having Lester Cotton out there, especially for the run game. So, yeah. And Javon Holland seems like he's going to come back this week. Obviously, he's dealing with some concussion stuff in the concussion protocol this past Sunday, but he seems like he's going to come back this week. And hopefully X. There's really been no great update on Xavier Howard, who's dealing with a groin. But I was so bummed out when it was just bad luck not having all three of them out there. Because I was so excited to see Jalen Ramsey play, and I was like, oh my God, we're finally going to get to see the secondary. Obviously, Nick Needham, who was also been injured, he came back for that game. So I was getting really excited. But I'm really excited to talk about the defense, because there's a lot of really nice developments. We'll talk about that later in the show. But for the rest of the news, I don't think there's anything else really at all to talk about. The injury stuff is kind of still too foggy. The Dolphins didn't do anything at the trade deadline. So there's really nothing else newsworthy. All I can say is hopefully they have their defense for the Chiefs, because in all the big games that they've played, they weren't healthy on the defensive side of the football. If I'm not mistaken, Jalen missed the first Bills game with the oblique stuff. And obviously Jalen didn't play. So it would be nice to see what the defense can do when they're healthy against a really good opponent. Obviously against Philadelphia, we had Perry Nickerson and Eli Apple out there trying to guard somebody, and it just wasn't. We did our best. It wasn't a bad performance, but obviously it wasn't ideal. So moving on from the news, the Dolphins defeat the New England Patriots 31-17. Now, before I even get into this game, I just want to say that the Patriots beat writers are really weak. I honestly want to use the word delusional, and some of the stuff that they say before, if you go back and look at some of the stuff they wrote before these games, is pretty crazy. especially when it pertains to Mac Jones and some of the stuff that they it's just strange, man. It's strange that they think of him in that way. And I don't even want to get into that debate, to be honest with you, because I think it's kind of stupid. But all I want to say is if you look at the 6 games Tua has played in against the Patriots and beaten the Patriots, some of those games he was throwing to people like Mac Hollins and, not great talent at the receiving position and not good offensive lines. So that's pretty much where it's not like he's always had Tyreek Hill his entire career. So I just never really understood that argument when people were like, oh, Mac, it's like, yeah, well, Tua is honestly, especially offensively, most of the time had the worst team versus the Patriots. When you think about offenses versus New England, I mean, he didn't have Tyreek Hill for most of those games. So I don't know. I don't know really why I'm even bringing it up, because it doesn't matter. The facts are the facts. Whether you want to ignore them or not is up to you. But this is what it is. So let's get into this game. That being said, the Dolphins' offense was carried by Tua in this game. He was 30 for 45, which is insane. And honestly, he should have been even better with his completion percentage. Jalen Waddle had a lot of drops in this game. This is one of the best games of Tua's career, I thought. He played really, really good. I thought, like I said, the offense ran through him in this game. Waddle and Hill went over 100 yards. The run game was pretty much non-existent the entire time. They still tried to, have a somewhat of a running presence in this game. Raheem Mostert had 13 carries and 46 yards. Jeff Wilson, you really notice a difference in athleticism ever since Devon A-Chain became a Dolphin. Like, watching him run some of those, off-tackle runs, it's like, man, it's just a completely different feeling. And it's no disrespect to Jeff, but even with Ahmed, you really can see, like, the drop-off there between those players. Just some of my observations in this game. But Jeff Wilson's a different type of player than those guys. So it is what it is. Shout out to Chase Claypool. I don't know why I kept saying Jeff Wilson. Chase Claypool and Cedric Wilson, who really did a good job in this game, contributing in the run game and the pass game. And Chase Claypool's done a great job of blocking since he's been a Dolphin. I know he's gotten a lot of criticism for that, but I thought he's really done a good job. And honestly, he's better at the Robbie Anderson role / Trent Sherfield role than those guys were, because he's a more talented receiver. So he's more of a threat when he's on the field. He can do more than just run block. And I think his future is really bright from the little that we've seen so far, but they can really utilize someone like that in a lot of different ways. And Chase Claypool, throughout his career, if you go back and look at some of his older stuff, his run after the catch ability is actually pretty good. So I think he actually is going to contribute to this team moving forward in that role. And it's great having a great quarterback who, I can't say this enough. I appreciate it every week. Some of the plays that this man makes me happy as a fan that I get to watch this every Sunday. And every week I think to myself, thank God I don't have to watch the plethora, and we don't have to go through them all, of all the quarterbacks that we've had before. And we did the top 5 quarterbacks since Dan Marino retired. He's easily number 1 now. It's not even close. And this is one of the best seasons. I'm really pulling for Tua to get MVP. Just to see an MVP quarterback in our lifetime would be really awesome. And for a lot of young Dolphins fans, I think would be a big deal. So really, really pulling for that. Yeah, and some other observations. Obviously, Durham Smythe was banged up in this game. He had that weird catch over the middle where he kind of bent his leg. So hopefully Julian Hill, who honestly, when he's been on the field, has played pretty well. He moves really well. He actually moves better than I thought watching him in the game. So I think there's something there in Julian Hill. He just has to get better at some of the other things that it takes to be a tight end, especially route running, and obviously being able to be trusted in the offense, I think is a big leap for him. But I do like the way Julian Hill has looked. So he can come in if Durham isn't feeling healthy and play pretty good. And the last thing I want to say is Mike McDaniel. I think this is one of the best managed games since he's been the head coach of the Dolphins, and some of the decisions he made in this game. A lot of new formations in this game. He really does dictate his formations to his personnel, who's on the field. He doesn't force people to do something that they're not comfortable with. Like when Jeff Wilson was on the field, it was more of a power run game than we've seen in the past, especially for this season. We haven't really seen some of those sets. And so that play at the end of the game to close it to Waddle was just really cool. Having the motion and to have Hill on the wheel and then Waddle over the middle. And they ran that exact same action earlier in the game, and they got like a 6-yard game. Same formation, same action, same everything. 6-yard gain on the ground, except they just turned the play into an RPO. And the Patriots had to load up for the run, and he just caught him. And it's just Mike McDaniel was a phenomenal head coach. Yeah, so the offense looked really good. Great response from last week. Shout out to the interior for playing way better. That wasn't the Philadelphia Eagles by any stretch of the imagination in terms of, interior defensive line. But the Patriots actually do have good defensive tackles. So it's not like they're playing terrible players. They're pretty good. Now, they did win most of the time in the run game. And they did win some pass plays, obviously. Christian Barmore had a sack, but I thought for the most part they played good. But hopefully that part of the field can get healthy, and hopefully Robert Hunt's not severely injured, and he can come back playing like he was. The thing that really got me excited in this game was the defensive side of the football. Obviously, watching Jalen playing a Dolphins uniform was pretty awesome. He, like he said in the game, he did come as advertised. He shut down that side of the field. He's a phenomenal open field tackler. He really, it seemed like, made Vic a lot more comfortable in calling some of the plays he called in this game. It really allowed Kader Kohou to have the best game of his time in the Vic Fangio defense. He played phenomenal in this game. Kader Kohou was great in this game, especially in the open field tackling. Brandon Jones looked like his old self in this game. He looked really good, really, really, really good. Which is a big sign, because I was like, man, maybe we'll never see that, especially him changing defensive schemes and him coming off the injury. I was like, hopefully we get to see the old Brandon again. And we did. He played really good in this game, really, really good. So it was nice to see him look like his old self. Deshaun Elliott continues to be a surprise. The two linebackers in the middle, Jerome and David, they get better every week they play in this game. And it shows, and it showed in this game as well. What else do I want to say? I want to bring up some numbers here. First of all, one of the biggest ways teams have attacked this Dolphins defense is to throw on the opposite, either Xavier Howard or Jalen Ramsey, and attack the weaker corners. Even in this game, they did that with Eli Apple. And that's really been the only way teams have done it, because ever since the Chargers game, as those weeks have gone on, the defensive line has done a much better job of stopping the run. Ever since Christian Wilkins moved out to defensive end, pretty much all the time now, for the most part, maybe not on third downs. They kind of kick him back inside, and then they'll put Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb back, on the outside. But ever since they moved Christian Wilkins to defensive end on early down, similar to what the Chiefs do with Chris Jones, he not only is his sack production up, but he has really helped the team become a better run defense. So the defense has just gradually gotten better, and with the secondary members coming back, the defense is already, first of all, they're 5th in the NFL in sacks per game. They get about 3.4. The league leading average is 3.9, just to kind of give you guys a reference. So they're 5th in the NFL in sacks per game. They're 4th in the NFL with sacks with 27. Okay. And then they're number 1 in the NFL with quarterback hits with, I think, 61. So they have 61 quarterback hits on the season. Let me get you the exact number. They have 61 quarterback. The defense leads the NFL with 61 quarterback hits. So they're top 5 in sacks, top 5 in sacks per game, and they are first in the NFL in quarterback hits. And they've done this without blitzing for the most part. I mean, they have blitzed, obviously, and some of that production comes from that. But for the most part, it's a 4-man rush. And they're doing that without the secondary help that they've lacked all year with all the injuries. And the safeties are going to be really good. You know, we were really worried about, okay, who's going to be opposite Holland, and the fact that Brandon Jones has come back and looked that good, especially in this game. And you're getting Xavier Howard back, and you're getting Javon Holland back. This defense really does, like I've said this multiple times, it has a real chance to be super special. The fact that they're this high in sacks without some of their best playmakers in the secondary is really, really kind of crazy. And Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, especially Jalen getting healthier, it's a really good defense, and that's been one of the bigger issues of the team, at least early on in the season. And one of the hopes that we had going into the year was like, okay, if this, when we thought it was going to be healthy, it's like more short fields and more punts, more turnovers, especially with Vic coming in for a really good offense. And we really haven't seen that much this year. And I'm really excited for them to get together. And I think this defense could carry this team to a win if it needed to. That's how good it is. So I think everybody's getting more comfortable in the scheme. That's very noticeable from week to week. And the way that teams have been attacking the defense is starting to kind of close, because when the secondary comes back, you can't really throw to the other side. You're throwing to an all-pro corner. You can't throw to the other side because there's another all-pro corner in there. And with Kader Kohu in the slot, that's with run support, that's going to make the run defense better. And some of these short passes are going to be a lot harder because he's such a good open field tackler. And then you got the great safeties on the back end with a really, really good defensive front. And the linebackers, like I said, have been playing better football every single week. It really does come down to health because, God bless Eli Apple, and they're not, Kader Kohu, I love him to death. He's just not meant to play on the outside. And I'm just very excited for the boys to come back. And like I said, in this game, a lot of players looked good and looked better than they have in the past. Vic's been talking about how Raekwon Davis has been playing a lot better these last few weeks, which he has. I cannot wait to see the defense together, because they can really be special, just like the offense. And if it can come together like it has been these last few weeks, and they get their players back, I really do believe this team could win a championship. I really, really do. And I just hopefully they can stay healthy. And hopefully the offensive line injuries stop. So, yeah, the defense looks great. And I'm very, like I said, I'm just super excited to see the boys play together. I have been waiting for it all year, all right? And I will say Jalen Ramsey has surprised me of how good. I don't even know why I'm saying, like, he's still Jalen Ramsey. If anybody had any reservations about that. Like, he just looked really, really good. And the defense, like I said, as a whole, and I'm repeating myself a lot, but they looked a lot better. And I will say this, Jalen Waddle looked better in this game than he has in the past. I thought he was moving better. I don't know why. Maybe, obviously, he did just recently injure his back, but for whatever reason, he looked a lot better in this game, even though he had a few drops. But I thought a lot more plays were drawn up for him in this game. Maybe that's because Tyreek Hill wasn't feeling healthy, even though he still looked like Tyreek Hill in this game. And I don't really think there's anything else I want to say on that, really. Obviously there's been some weird Tua stuff, but I think that's really been put to bed these last 2 years, in my opinion. And yeah, this game, the offense ran through him. There's really nothing else I want to say. The team looks great. Can't wait to see the defense healthy. Obviously, we have a big game in Germany against Kansas City. I'm super excited about that. And I think everybody else agrees. Like, it's really weird that this game is in Germany at 9 o'clock in the morning. But the good news is this was not a home game for the Dolphins. This was a home game for Kansas City. And it's a whole lot easier to play these teams not in their home stadium. It would have been nice to get one of them at our home stadium. Obviously, we're going to get Buffalo at the end of the year, but, we kind of got the short end of the stick on that one with some of the harder games on our schedule, but that's okay. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for this game. And I just cannot wait to see the defense together. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.